Hi, I'm Natari Sims, and I'll be discussing the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, also known as the HIPAA. So, what exactly does the HIPAA do? They have a huge impact on the healthcare industry by ensuring mobility of health insurance by removing job restrictions because of existing medical conditions. They also cut back on healthcare fraud and misuse while enforcing health information standards and the safety and privacy of patient data. Now, to fulfill these tasks, there are two titles for the HIPAA. Title 1 deals with health insurance portability, access, and accountability, and Title 2 deals with administrative simplification. But our main focus deals with the privacy rule, as I said previously about patient data. Privacy rule deals with all individually identifiable health information that is stored or communicated by a covered entity or a business partner in any format or medium, including electronic, written, or spoken, is protected by the privacy rule. This data is referred to as Protected Health Information, or PHI, by the privacy rule, and this information shall not be shared or there will be violations. Speaking of violations, there's penalties for violating the HIPAA, and State's Attorney General and the Office for Civil Rights of the Department of Health and Human Services have the authority to impose fines for HIPAA violations. In addition to paying fines, covered companies must establish a corrective action plan to bring their policies and processes in line with HIPAA requirements. Now, dealing with the process of a HIPAA violation, what actions are deemed HIPAA violations? When a HIPAA covered entity or a business partner disregards one or more of the requirements of the HIPAA privacy, security, or breach notification rules, it commits a HIPAA violation either willfully or by accident. Based on severity, there are four violation tiers. Most organizations that fail to comply face lawsuits, fines, and coaching to be up to par unless there are multiple occurrences. Now, there are four tiers when dealing with violation severity. The following four groups make up the penalty structure. Tier 1 is an infraction that the covered entity knew about but could not have possibly avoided, even with due diligence to abide by HIPAA rules. Tier 2 is a breach that the covered entity shouldn't have known about but was unable to stop despite exercising reasonable caution, but not to the extent of willful disregard for HIPAA rules. Tier 3 is instances in which a violation of HIPAA rules has occurred as a direct result of willful disregard, notwithstanding efforts to remedy the violation. Tier 4 is a breach of the HIPAA rules that demonstrates purposeful indifference and for which no effort has been made to remedy the breach. Now, with violations, like previously stated, an action plan, but there are also fines. Tier 1 is a minimum fine of $100 per violation up to $50,000. Tier 2 is a minimum fine of $1,000 per violation up to $50,000. Minimum 3 for Tier 3, minimum fine of $10,000 per violation up to $50,000. And Tier 4 is a minimum fine of $50,000 per violation.